So Chicago is in a bit of a situation, Matt, and this is the first. As the longtime resident, we're actually witnessing something that's never happened before in my great grandfather's time, my grandfather's time, and even well, I guess my mother still being around here, my uncle and my aunt and myself. But it's something I never see, and that is after November 5th, two districts in Chicago turned red. Now, this has never happened before in Chicago's history, and now we are witnessing massive pushback on the south and west side neighborhoods of Chicago. Um, and joining us here is somebody who I've been trying to reach out, or a group I've been trying to reach out for a little bit. There was a delay yesterday, and my apologies for not getting that set up properly. So I take full responsibility for that. We actually have one of their representatives here, Zoe Lee, who is a representative of Chicago Flips Red. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day for joining us. It's clear that I have a lot of questions and my audience is going to have a lot of questions. So please introduce yourself and tell us about your group, Chicago Flips Red.
Hi, my name is Zoe Lee. I'm originally from Albany, New York. However, my mother is born and raised in Chicago, Illinois on the south side. And she left here in 1978, met my father. Shout out to Charlie Lee, who is a professional football player for the Miami Dolphins, 1972, 17-0. So I got to put my little legacy in there. However, I came back to Chicago to help my mother fight a legal battle with eminent domain. As you know, the city of Chicago is very known for redlining and eminent domain and usually getting away with it. But my mother would not leave, so I came back, helped fight. And once I started fighting, I realized that the Democratic Party is the problem, and the city of Chicago is a chokehold here. And I was never political affiliated. I didn't care. I was just an entrepreneur, raised by an entrepreneur, and I just knew that the city violated the U.S. Constitution. I am very big on the U.S. Constitution. The same U.S. Constitution, I just sued Delta Airlines for my violation of my First Amendment. I have a brand called Uncomfortable Truth Lifestyle. Uncomfortable Truth Lifestyle, before I realized that the government was really as messed up as Dick Gregory used to say, which I used to manage from 2013 until he passed away in 2017. I also realized that we were being silenced. I come from the entertainment world, the comedy world, and I realized that anybody that said anything that was not with whatever agenda that we were on, that they were, here comes these weird sexual harassment accusations or coming to find old stuff, digging up. So I'm like, man, I would like to try to tackle cancel culture. But while trying to tackle cancel culture, the city of Chicago is violating the U.S. Constitution when it comes to the Fifth Amendment and 14th Amendment for my family, and will not pay my mother, who has all this evidence. So I moved from Atlanta. I was living in Atlanta. So I was living in a red state that turned blue. All of a sudden, that I know my black friends in Atlanta that are born and raised in the South did not vote for Joe Biden. So I know, and they're very conservative. So they were the first ones was like, nah, he right. Nah, they stole the election. But I wasn't I wasn't in politics like that. Then I come here and I'm protesting outside. My first summer here, 2023, I spent my whole summer outside protesting. And Brandon Johnson was going in every other door in front of City Hall instead of the 121 North LaSalle door. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, you just got in here. Not knowing that I didn't even know who was going to be the mayor. I didn't know. All I know was that, Dick Gregory did this, and Dick Gregory did this. He started at 121 North LaSalle, and then they marched to their old man Daly house. So I'm like, and they locked him up, First Amendment, and they ended up suing, and he won. So I'm like, okay, I'll just take the Dick Gregory route. There shouldn't be no issue. Then there's a man by the name of legendary George Blakemore. George Blakemore brings me in, tells me, look, you got to get on the mic. You got to get on the mic and tell your problem. So I get on the mic, hey, I'd like somebody to sit down with my mom. She has all the evidence. The city of Chicago unlawfully demolished her building. She's been fighting, and I'm name dropping. I used to work with Killer Mike. I used to be I used to manage Dick Gregory. I managed a comedian named Just Niche. I'm just named like I'm like, this should be no issue. Ignoring me, ignoring me, ignoring me. So like I'll say the 6th week of me going in there trying to talk to these people, I'm like, I look at Brandon Johnson. I'm like, hey man, I said, I'm trying to be real patient with you. I said, and you just keep looking the other way. Nobody's helping. I said, I was living in Atlanta when Georgia flipped blue. I said, if y'all don't settle my if y'all don't sit down with my mother and my godfather and figure out this case, I said, I'll flip this shit red. And I don't know if we're able to curse, but I apologize. But that's exactly what I said, because this is the worst customer service of all time. How do black people, the only reason why the Democratic Party is even still a thing is because of the black vote, especially the black senior vote. My mother's 76, my godfather's 81. How are you ignoring these people? How did you knock down their commercial building? That's my generational wealth. I don't want to work for anybody. I've been a successful independent entrepreneur without dealing with the government. And now you're making me come deal with the government because you are violating the very same laws that the government made. So that's how I started this. And so when I'm going down there for 2 years, so while I'm going down there for 2 years, I'm watching all this money being laundered in the name of affordable housing and this affordable housing racket, and talk about this homeless rate that we have here and all this stuff. Meanwhile, I'm fighting for you knocking down a building and making my godfather homeless, and y'all are ignoring that, but prioritizing the new arrivals that came here. So I'm down there every day. There's nobody that can tell me nothing about what I saw myself for 2 years down there, going on 3 years down there. I've been arrested. I've been banned, and then I've been banned and had to come back. I have been arrested for my violation of the First Amendment, trying to keep me off that mic because everybody's listening to me now. I didn't know I was viral on YouTube. I didn't understand any of this. I just wanted a solution, and it wasn't happening. So then I couldn't get any press. Like, nobody would take this story. So I contacted Charlemagne. I know Charlemagne very well. And I said, Charlemagne, I said, I need 30 minutes on the Breakfast Club. I said, because they got to the point that they got the media walking out of committee meetings when I get on the mic to discuss what's going on. Like, they're telling these people not to talk to me. And I'm like, this is nuts. So then when I went the first time I got banned, I came back with a Make Chicago Great Again hat. Because I'm like, okay, now we're going to start trolling because y'all think it's a game. Then from that, after I went on the Breakfast Club, a couple of people reached out to me and asked me to hold a town hall. I didn't know. I was like, man, I don't want to do all that. But I eventually did. And when I did, Danielle Carter Walters, she was the first one that came. A couple of other people. So I have a total of 7 core members in Chicago Flips Red. But these are the 7 people that took the chance and came in with me. We went and got some shirts. It's Danielle Carter had a friend who got us some shirts that say Chicago Flips Red. We went to the following city council meeting. We took a picture and it went viral. And then the FOP guy, shout out to John. A lot of people don't like John, but John is a good guy. He wore the shirt. And while he was talking on the mic, I mean, we all did. And we went viral. Once we went viral with the Chicago Flips Red thing, that's when everybody's going from left to right, all the people coming, hey. But I didn't know what was going on.
Okay,
I just knew that.
So what I want to ask here then is, when it comes down to really addressing Brandon Johnson and his administration, especially towards the economic situation. As we all know, there's
Right.
gentrification happening in Chicago in the South and West Side neighborhoods. And if you've been following Heartland's media from the beginning, we've been doing a lot of coverage on how a lot of families, not just only on the South and West Side, but all across Chicago, you have communities that are being displaced. And because of the failure of the Biden-Harris administration, you had this, of course, this economic situation that we are in which it's impossible to make ends meet. You have people wondering whether they should pay the bills or get their medicine, put gas in the car, etc., pay off their college debt. Everyone's got their own fair share of problems. So when making this organization and having it come together, when was it that you guys started coming to a head with Brandon Johnson and his administration? Like, what were the things that the catalyst that set it off? And especially, what were you guys doing to eventually turn these two districts in Chicago red? And I want to make sure that Matt will have a follow-up question. So, Matt, do you have anything you want to add in there too?
No, I'm hearing about your struggle with the Democratic Party. I'm just I relate on my end, just being here in Los Angeles and seeing just Gavin.
Oh yes, you're from. Oh, I feel sorry for you.
No, it's awful. We see a lot of lifelong Dems leaving the party, absolutely, and wanting to punish them for tricking so many people. So I definitely empathize with that. But yeah, I would like to hear more of when you put the group together, the Chicago Flips Red. Were you able to have this discussion about what's the best way to punish this party as far as becoming this red state or this red city? Did you go through a process as far as like leaving the party first, or did everyone just decide we're going to go red as the result?
Right, because what I want to know is exactly how you guys managed to organize to flip at least two areas red, which has been unheard of throughout Chicago elections, where any part of the city would be red. So take it away.
First of all, I would like to thank you both for acknowledging that, because Chicago GOP and Illinois GOP refuses to acknowledge Chicago Flips Red. And I keep trying to explain to them that we were a major part of the state, those two districts turning red. But thank you. So I acknowledge that. Thank you for acknowledging that. Before the Chicago Flips Red, it was me and a lady named Jessica Jackson that were coming down there every day, 2 years consistently. And we were going viral online, but we didn't know. I did not know I was going viral online. And I think it was just people being amazed that two Black women from two different walks of life, one being a Chicago native, one being a daughter of a Chicago native, was going so hard about Trump and just saying that we got to get Trump in office because we're watching the city. Jessica Jackson, once she went to college, and once she graduated from college, she moved to Los Angeles. So she saw how Los Angeles changed. She's 62 years old. So, she was there with the Rodney King riot. She was there when Inglewood and Compton was Black, and then watching it turn to now it's not so Black. So she saw the homeless. She saw that, and she said that is what Chicago is going to look like if we do not push back. So that shout out to Ms. Jessica, because Jessica was there. I was living in a red state. So I saw the COVID situation when we were outside. And when we had a mayor that was Democrat, Keisha Lance Bottoms, who was trying to keep us inside, but Governor Brian Kemp, who was the Republican governor, was like, no. And that right there showed she was voted out. She knew that she was not going to win. So she just didn't get reelected. She didn't even try to go anymore because she knew she was done. And that's what I was watching Chicago. My mother was living here. I was watching Chicago like fall apart. So when going with Brandon Johnson, I'm like, you got a chance. If he really cared about the Democratic policies, he was a real moderate Democrat, because these aren't moderate Democrats. These are criminals that have taken the oath and have realized that they can launder money in the name of affordable housing, in the name of homelessness, in the name of this illegal immigration Ponzi scheme, all of that stuff. And he just kept ignoring us. He refused to ignore, kept talking about, he's changing, he's building a better Chicago. While secretly Black seniors and Black people are getting displaced out of these apartment buildings, these slum wards and stuff are pushing these people out, even paying the Cook County sheriff's money underneath the table with illegal evictions. And these people do not know their rights, nor are they reaching out to ABC, CBS, Fox News Local, and they're not getting no traction. But you've got local, you've got YouTubers and you have independent journalists and stuff that are showing this. And I'm on the mic. Me and Miss Jessica, George Blakemore are down there also saying, like, yes, what are you guys going to stop displacing us? Why are you pushing us out for the illegals? Why are you putting them in our community? Why are you? Yeah. And so they would never give us no answer. So I would just, anywhere that he would be at, anytime he would be at any place, I would be there, to the point that they started manipulating rules and policies and trying to threaten me and I'm gonna arrest you. I don't care. I've been locked up before. You understand? Like, no, what you're doing is inhumane, on top of stealing our tax-paying dollar by talking about the Republicans are racist and it's the Republicans' fault. The Republicans don't have nothing to do with this. This is y'all. This is a progressive agenda that that you're trying to push and be honest, socialism and communism, but socialism is not going to work in a city like Chicago. And clearly you saw that with the 2 districts turning red. So
right. But in regards to socialism and communism, like, because I think Chicago is always categorized as being a socialist or communist city when it's really a corporatist. You got to be part of the machine. I think that's the one thing that's always politics. It's and I'm glad we're able to see that. But what I want to bring up here is that the Illinois GOP refuses to recognize what your organization has done here. And I find it to be very disheartening because on this show, we say, hey, break away from the Democrat Party and break away from the Republican Party. If they're not acknowledging your work, is there a chance you guys can just do your own thing and form your own party separate from the GOP? Because it's abundantly clear that no matter what happens, at least what we've seen here in different states and in different cities, that the Democrat Party and Republican Party have their games, and it's always the people that get pushed aside.
So when I first started this, because I've never like said, well, I'm a Democrat. I never said I was a Republican. I never said any of those. I never was like, I'm a true heart. So when I decided that, I was like, okay, in order for this to work, I said, I'm super anti-Democrat. I said, but we got to revamp these parties. That's the problem. And when they're trying to revamp, they are revamping the Democrat Party into this progressive socialist situation. No one has revamped. The only person that has revamped the Republican Party, MAGA, is Donald Trump. Now, a lot of people do not like MAGA because how they display MAGA on everything. So I said, if I got to get in this, because I know I'm about to be called all types of names. They're gonna drag me being Black, being gay, all of that. I got to do this on my terms. So Chicago Fizz Red is the new conservative party for this millennium. And you have to take over yourself. We're not ready to be independent. And if we were ready to be independent, when they killed Martin Luther King, when they killed Malcolm X, that was the time for Black America to go independent, or America to go independent. And that did not happen. We don't have a bank. The bank is the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. As you see, the Democratic Party we have $5.36 in Chicago, and we're not going to get any more money from President Donald Trump, which thank you very much, because all they do is launder the money. I can't even get paid. My family can't even get paid. I got 5 lawsuits in violation of all my amendments. We all have, all Chicago citizens, so state of Illinois, for Pritchard 2, should all be filing a federal lawsuit for violation of our due process, which they're going so hard for people who can't even read the Constitution. So that is an issue, but we have to change it. So we're not ready. The only people that got the bank is the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm going for the Republican bank, and I'm going to build my own party, because in order for Chicago to make a change, we have to get Republicans in office. Everything here is, unless everybody going to boycott and not pay taxes, and that's not going to happen. I would like it to happen, but it's not going to happen. So I got to play this game. I got to get a table at the Baccarat table. That's what I call it. You got India at the table. You got Israel at the table. You got China at the table. You got Mexico at the table. You know, now Brandon Johnson has sold half of Chicago to Venezuela, so they at the table. But nobody from America is at the table except Trump, and because Trump is America first. But Black America has never been able to make it to the table. And we when I go back and look at our history, we have 14 Democratic presidents. 14 when it first started. It took Abraham Lincoln, the one that they call a racist, to free us, to give us the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which are our amendments, Freeman Amendments. Then y'all go, and then he gives us everything to start the Reconstruction era, and then y'all blow his brains out. And then Andrew Johnson comes in, another Democrat, and takes everything away. We've never given the Republicans, I've never given the Republicans, because I did not go back and look at my history and stuff like that, because when we're young, they don't give us that type of history when we're in school, in grade school. But they show us, I know more about the Holocaust than I knew about my own history. You know?
So okay, Matt, go ahead. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, mind if I jump in?
Sorry.
No, from your vantage point, I understand that that moment it hits you that the party you've been part of was screwing you the whole time, and they're not what they're a wolf in sheep clothing.
Yeah.
The thing I'm concerned about is that the work you guys are doing, all the work you're doing to punish this party, which they obviously deserve to be punished for screwing so many people over, especially right there in Chicago. I've seen it. I've seen what Kit's been reporting on for these last several years. And what I'm worried about, Zoe, is I'm worried about that when you abandon this party, as you should, and you get into the next this party, this red party, and are you putting safeguards in place when they also let you down, when they also screw you? What kind of work have you been doing, as far as you talked about building your own party, but you're not really building your own party? It seems like you would have to start from scratch if the Republicans do exactly the same thing, which my guess, and I think I will speak for Kit too, they will screw you too. They're not this party that's going to be doing everything right. So then what do you do? What are you left with if you haven't been building an actual party that is yours, that's on the ground, that is the people? What do you do then? All right, let's let her speak.
Okay. So we are building. I started this by myself. Okay, I started this by myself. Now we have more followers than, if I wanted to have members for Chicago Fist Rep, I would have probably right now about 5,000 to 6,000 people. We already got people that are doing Flip Houston Red, Flip Milwaukee Red. It's a big thing. July 4th, some of our group we have a whole slate, a political Republican slate to get in office. We have to get in government, and we will. I know I'm going to win if I run for office, because I have a story, and to this day, they will not even meet with my family, because they know that my case will set a precedent. Now, the Republican Party also, I reached out to all of them when I realized that the Democratic Party was not helping me in Chicago, in Illinois, and they're the same. You have to break that old, established, corrupt machine. People think that politics have to be a certain way. No, people tell me all the time, you curse too much. What? Oh, what? I curse too much. Y'all steal too much. I mean, come on, y'all don't even care. Y'all got everybody homeless. Every blue city has a homeless rate that's out of control, but y'all are in here arguing about these affordable housing that you're getting the money for, millions of dollars for, and always 30% of it's going to be affordable housing, but the rest, while you've knocked down all the projects here and displaced 65,000 people, but nobody's talking about it. So in order for us to do anything, we have to get in government. So July 4th, we are announcing our candidacy, and we are going to win. And that is how this starts. This is the new Republican Party. I have went in, people tell me, oh, you need to talk to Rod B. No, I'm not. I don't need to talk to anybody. I know how this works. I'm very smart. I have a strong group of people. We have great followers. And I know it. And a lot of people are like, you need money, you need money, you need money. Public, that's the problem. Everybody's not thinking about public service. When you get into government, it's not about money. You get 6 figures, okay? If I was to be an alderman tomorrow, I get 6 figures, I get money for a full staff, and I get $1.5 million to do anything infrastructure a year in my ward, and I get all my expenses paid. Why am I stealing? Why? So the problem is you have to go back to people who want to be out here for the community first, our children first, our seniors first. The Democratic Party they're lazy. Half of them don't have no businesses. I have a business on the side. Do you know how much my business is going to make on the side that I can actually probably donate my salary like President Trump has for his last 2 terms? The situation, these people go down here and argue about we need more affordable housing. We need to make sure that our new arrivals have a place to go. They're all over the place. We need to do this while they're still taking a raise every year. Why don't y'all donate your salaries to this cause? Why don't you donate your salary to making homelessness better? Annually, we receive too much homeless money for it to be tent city on Lakeshore Drive. That's embarrassing. We also have new Hyde Park, which is a very affluent neighborhood in the city of Chicago, that they have a homeless shelter right across the street from the Newport condominiums, which is a disrespect to them seniors, which is a disrespect to the $800,000 houses that are right there, and they can't get no help from Tony Preckwinkle, who is the Cook County Board President, who's been over there for a very long time because they didn't vote for Brandon Johnson, who is a loser, as you see. So they don't care. So you have to get these people out of office. All of these people said they weren't running anymore. Tony Preckwinkle said she was not going to run anymore. Now Chicago Fits Red is a threat and will be the first time that we will have Black Republicans and Republicans. We have a whole slate now. We got a whole slate. So it's not just Black. We've got all types of demographics, because at the end of the day, we all saw an issue. It doesn't have to be, and Chicago still is a very segregated city, and it's fine. That's why Chicago pushed back, and everybody's looking at Chicago, because you have legit brought these asylum seekers over here. They could sit here and say, well, Greg Abbott was sending them. Yes, and Brandon Johnson and the rest of the Hispanic KKK progressive Democrats was keep coming. Yes, we're a welcoming city. Keep bringing them because they thought the federal government, Jim Crow, racist Joe Biden, was going to continue to keep funding something. He gave you a one-time payment of $52 million. And then you out here stealing from COVID money, stealing from this money over here, stealing from this surplus over here. Now we got 50 new installed speed light cameras. Where they're going to go in our community? They, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to get in government. And if we don't get in government, then we're doomed. So that's the problem. We can complain, but we have to get in government. I got to get in government for sure, because I got to settle my 5 cases.
All right, so I do want to just give a little bit of a pushback here, because one of the criticisms is that, look, we have a problem with the 2-party system as Democrats and Republicans, and while Chicago has been a corporatist city, it's a neoliberal city. The thing about Chicago politics is that, and I think you would attest to this, is that when you run for Chicago office, you register with the Democrat Party afterwards, and there's always been this concern of.
I can't. You know, it's like you sound like a robot. So
okay, sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay.
No, I don't know. It might be my thing.
Okay. Well, Matt. Then why don't you have a follow-up question, Matt?
Oh yeah, no. That's is she hearing us right now, Zoe?
I can hear you.
Oh,
okay. Test. All right. Test. 1, 2. I hope you can hear me now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, what I wanted to ask you is, of course, what a lot of people don't know is that when you run for Chicago politics, you register as a Democrat a little bit later. But the thing is, there's always that worry about infiltration, and if the Republican Party were to gain ground here, I don't think there'd be that much of a difference. And there's always that concern of, there's your organization trying to challenge the Democrat Party, but then there's always that attempt, and this has always been everyone's dream, to see the Democrat machine fall apart. But once it falls apart, there's always that danger of, well, what's the replacement? Which is why I always go down the pathway for independent, running as a third party, green, libertarian, etc. And the thing is, if you guys are truly going to be running a Republican, or dare I say it, a Republican, candidates in there, is there also, like, what kind of roadblocks are you facing off against, especially for city elections? Because in 2027 will be the next city election, and it could be argued that this could be Brandon Johnson's final term, because his popularity and his support is lower than Lightfoot's. So what kind of roadblocks do you have to face off against? Because votes do disappear here in Chicago.
Yes, and a lot of dead people vote. So many dead people. It's crazy. The federal government, Trump's administration is watching us closely, and it's about to be RICO time. These people are going to prison. I don't know if you are familiar with Operation Greylord, but if you're not, please read up on Operation Greylord. It happened in 1984. This is about to be Operation Greylord Reloaded, or Operation Greylord 2.0. And it's with this, and the city of Chicago will be included. The first time it was just Cook County. And they went and arrested judges, lawyers, Cook County sheriffs, post workers, and elected officials. This time it's going to be still Cook County, but it's also going to be on the city level. These people have laundered so much money, have stolen so much money, and they thought that nobody was going to talk about it and see it. Danielle Carter, I don't know if you guys watched her testimony, and you guys should have her on here as well. And she would more, like, anytime you want her or anybody else, she would definitely do it. Danielle Carter testified before Congress April 5th, and she broke down everything that needed to be said. And Chuy Garcia was there, state rep, and Jasmine Crockett, always talking about Trump, how terrible that, whatever. Chuy Garcia, state rep here. They had nothing, any other Democrats too, they had nothing to say to a actual South Side resident whose husband gave 28 years of service to CPD and had to deal with the situation of when of new arrivals first came here and was steeping at all of the police stations and all of those things, bringing back bed bugs, all that type of stuff, and not getting any help from our government and the federal government, Biden administration and Harris administration, because this was the new arrivals plan that racist ass Rahm Emanuel put in place in 2012, and then it didn't help when Lori Lightfoot had signed this executive order that ICE couldn't work with to see what TPD couldn't work with ICE to really start getting these people out. So they were just left just lawless. You know, we're just in a lawless place right now. They only care about these the illegals, and the reason why is because this is the new voting bloc. You know, because this is they need this, because clearly, as you see, that the Democrats that your parents once believed in, and your great grandparents and you guys probably once believed in, is no way near what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with people that's in government who are anti-America, who have a vendetta against America, and work and teaming up with the cartel. And it's not a coincidence. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is real life, and we are the new adults. So I believe that for the city of Chicago, in order to send them a message, we have to go Republican. Black America has to go Republican. The Democratic Party has been very detrimental to Black America. Every country that comes over here that we still fund with our tax dollar, they set up shop in our, right now, I live in a place, I'm trying to tell you, it looks like little Hindu India. And it's in Bronzeville. People know about Bronzeville. Bronzeville is a predominantly Black area, but between 28th and King and 35th and King Drive. I mean, they got everything, including the shopping center. All Hindu Indians. Okay. All Hindu Indians.
Right.
South Shore. They push.
I do understand, like there's always a concern here, but you know, I do have
independence not going to work. Independence not going to work, and I'm just going to tell you that. Independent can work when Gen Z and Gen Alpha starts. That they have to do that. And I'm 40 years old. I'll be 40 January 23rd. I never, ever, ever, ever thought that I would even be getting in politics. If you go look at my website, uncomfortabletruthLifestyle.com, if you go look at my lifestyle before I even got into this, I did this because of the love of my mother and the love of my people. And the children, I saw the children. There's no way that we can go independent. It's no way.
I will have to give a little bit of a pushback here, because again, I've seen it and I've reported on it so many times where in numerous states here, especially all across the country, where people have left one party to go for another. And while I understand the magnetism to
I never
Trump,
left that's another thing. I never left the party. I never left the Democrat. I never was a Democrat.
I understand that. I understand. But what I'm trying to state here is that when you have people who go ahead and leave one party, I'm more on board of leaving both parties, because I've seen the game get played where once the Democrats leave, the Republicans take over, and things might look like they change, but they don't. And the same thing applies once the Republicans lose power, Democrats come in, things look like they change, but they don't. It's all performative art. And one of the concerns I have is that while you guys put in all this groundwork, if the GOP here in Illinois isn't recognizing it, I think that's a way you guys could be infiltrated and be taken over, or either that pushed aside, because it is historic what happened here in this city. And there has to be safeguards put in place for your organization. Otherwise, it could very well end up the same like how the Democrats infiltrate other organizations that start off good, trying to help out people, and in turn, eventually get co-opted, get taken over from the inside, and then get taken off of existence. I mean, that has happened, and I've seen that happen on the left a lot of times. And if the fact that you guys have done the work, which again, it's phenomenal, I do have to acknowledge that, and I'm very glad that you acknowledge it, that we're acknowledging it here. But there is that danger, and it's a story that I don't want to see repeated, because I see this especially for Chicago, where you have areas that are turning red. I look at that as a stepping stone to even help out independence in a way, because this city has a long set history of voters or voting machines not working, votes disappearing, etc., etc. Matt, did you want to add in anything here?
Well, I wanted to ask, the Chicago flips red. What is your stance on the U.S. war machine as far as the fact that our taxpayer money has been going to fund a genocide and a proxy war from Biden's administration, and now Trump's doing it the same. As we, and I'm just piggybacking off of Kit to say that using the war as a template, the war machine as a template to understand that both parties fund the same things that do affect us here, even though we could say, oh, they're overseas, that all of that affects us here. Do you guys take a stance in that area of anti-war?
Yeah, we definitely anti-war, but we're in a war right here in America. I simply cannot think about what's going on over there when we are in a war right here. We're in a war right here. So absolutely. However, you see what's going on now that how do you say that dude's name in Israel?
Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu.
Yeah,
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Thank you. He and Trump just got into it, and they just got into it. And I'm gonna get more into it because I'm gonna actually do a YouTube live on it. But then, if you just saw, I'm Catholic. My family's Catholic generations, and you just saw we have a new American Pope, right? However,
from Chicago, by the way.
This morning, I received something in my email about him over a school, and one of the priests that was in there was molesting some of the kids, and he hid it. Who didn't do their due diligence? You know, and I feel like that came out, and I feel like it has to do with the Zionists. And I have to get more into it, so I don't want to put all that out here, but I want to get into it because that's the problem. And I'm the person who calls out BS on all sides. I don't have an allegiance to anybody. I'm a very independent person. So I understand what you're saying, Kit. And yes, before I started even saying I'm going to vote for Trump, they shadow banned me. I was getting arrested, all that stuff. I said, I wish that we would just, this is a boycott for everybody. If we just not do anything, if we just hold our vote, we not say anything until we get what we want. The ceasefire, the Black America agenda, like all of that. But nobody I was getting silenced. I was called crazy. I was called all that. Hey, a lot of friends lost me because they thought I was losing my mind. And I'm like, no, I'm not losing my mind. Like, we are in a state of emergency. Like, I don't know what's wrong with, like, y'all crazy. But I believe that we can go independent for the federal level if we start getting ready now. But as far as the local level, no. I tell people all the time that I ran for president because my friends did not want to vote for Trump. They hate Trump. You know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't want them to vote for her either because there was 5 million people waiting at the border. So I put my thing in for a write-in. You understand? I was like, fuck it, just vote me in. But so I believe that it can happen. I believe that it can happen. But we have to start raising money. That's when you need money. Just like how they raised $1 billion for Kamala Harris, and she left them $20 million in debt, and nobody don't want to talk about it. But she was at the Met Gala. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody don't want to talk about how many people that worked on her campaign that are complaining that they haven't yet to got their money. But those type of people. I have a friend who was one of them people that got fired, and she's still like, well, I still have hope for the Democratic Party. Girl, the Democratic Party is done. You understand?
So then, as a final note, then for your organization and what your group is doing, when are you guys organizing again before City Hall? Will there be another event that's taking place for you guys? And what will be taking place so that the public can know? Because obviously, in a few years, it'll be the next city election. Yeah. So we have 2 things coming up. The next time we're meeting up is we want to go to Rainbow Push. Is having they want Rainbow Push. I have cursed out Jesse Jackson and his kids for the past 2 months because they're terrible. The fact that you guys are holding these forums when it comes to protecting the due process of illegal immigrants, but not the due process of my family, especially my godfather who let you solicit votes in the Sandpiper Lounge when it was open. But they're having a woman's history
a women's history moment this Saturday for Mother's Day is Sunday. So shout out to all the mothers who's watching this. So the woman of the movement. And one of the special guests is Deputy Mayor of Immigration and Refugee Rights, Beatrice Ponce de Leon. And Deputy Mayor Beatrice Ponce de Leon was appointed by Brandon Johnson, first ever. He made history appointing this lady to be the deputy mayor of Immigration and Refugee Rights, and we have not seen her since Brighton Park. She does not come outside. She does not address the shelter that's in Hyde Park across from Newport condominiums, but she's going to be up the street tomorrow talking about the civil rights and the injustices of what's going on right now. So I would like everybody to come support us and register at Rainbow Push and come and come listen to the conversation. Seats are limited and reserved. Seats are limited, so you got to do it today. However, it starts at 9 a.m. is breakfast, and then 10 a.m. is the forum. But I would like to hear what she has to say, because we have not seen her since the Brighton Park shelter incident, when they was trying to put those asylum seekers on that toxic soil over there, and they just settled a $1.8 million settlement of our taxpaying dollar. Yeah, she doesn't come out as much, but she's going to be here. She's making a rare appearance at Rainbow Push with Congressman Jonathan Jackson and keynote speaker. It's a lady, I got to look her up, Dr. Carol Adams, and then the moderator is Yusef Jackson, the other brother. So that's where we'll be. That, and then the next city council meeting, May 16th, Miss Jackie Page, which is in DuPage, she's in DuPage County, which is a Republican county. She is getting railroaded, and her rights are being violated, and she's trying to go through a divorce. And her husband paid off, Dr. Madison Sample. He's paid off all of the judges over there, so her due process is getting violated too. So May 16th at 9 a.m. If people can come to DuPage County with me and support Miss Jackie too, because Miss Jackie went last week to Rainbow Push trying to get some help from and she can't get any help.
All right. Well, definitely, Zoe, thank you so much for joining us. We are appreciative to hear different perspectives and points of view. Again, I will just give you with this one final heads up and warning. Again, just consider putting safeguards into your organization so that you're not infiltrated. I mean, I've seen it happen before, but if Chicago is able to make some more historic changes, especially by changing it politically from the Democrat machine, then I think it's necessary. So thank you so much for your time. We are going to be continuing on with the rest of our main show. Zoe, all the best to you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. And Matt,
thank you, kid.
Absolutely.
No problem. And so we're going to take a quick changeover, and then Matt will be joining me still with the rest of our main show.